Claude can go from being this genius architect to a kid, actually a 5-year-old tantrum throwing kid, in just a matter of few hours. This has been my observation working with Claude over the last couple of weeks on multiple different projects. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. I'm going to tell you how I arrived at this conclusion. But before that, I'm going to take you through my journey. First of all, establish what kind of credibility I bring to the table so you clearly understand what the stakes are and why I am making this claim. I have been in the tech industry for over 2 decades. I've worked at companies like Microsoft. I started out as an engineer, and over the years, I've graduated to becoming a product manager. For the last 20 plus years or so, I've been doing product management. Now, over the last couple of years, I have worked in multiple different companies. I've held leadership positions as a product manager, VP of product, senior director of product. Additionally, I have done 2 startups. I'm actually on my second startup, which is a fashion brand. In addition to that, I'm also working on a number of different side hustles. Besides being a content creator, coming to you in the form of videos and talking about happening things in tech and product management interviews, I also do PM mock interviews. So for all these different outputs, whether it is building a fashion brand or running mock interviews or doing content creation, there are a number of different ways I am utilizing Claude for my daily productivity in various work streams. And so this video is really all about me and my observations, and how it has shaped my interaction with Claude for good or bad. And I'm happy to share that in the next few sections. For the purpose of this evaluation, I'm going to be running it through the lens of a founder. So think of this mostly as a founder's audit of how Claude helps a typical entrepreneur go through the phases of the different phases of from setting up a company, building a product, and then acquiring customers and so on. There are 3 primary focus areas that I plan to cover in this section. Number 1 really is, where does Claude really shine very well? In other words, the benefits. Number 2 focus area would be, where does it lack, right? What are some of the problem areas? Where does it struggle, and so on. And number 3 really is the overall summary, the wrap up in terms of ROI. Is it really worth it, considering Claude as a companion tool in terms of your productivity use cases? The biggest benefit that I see really is Claude acting as a think partner, a strategic thought leader, and a confidant brain trust. The saying goes like this: ideas are a dime a dozen and execution is everything, right? And sometimes when you're in the flow, when you got a bright idea or you think it is bright, you want to rely on someone that has seen it all, that can pressure test that idea and tell you, hey, it is worth investing in. And I see Claude taking that place, right? That is really the biggest leverage that I see Claude bringing to the table. Let me give you an example. This is a practical scenario, a real world scenario that we ran into as part of my fashion store. So I run a fashion brand and we are a small team. And recently we ran into a problem where one of the suppliers shut down. It was an unexpected event, and we were literally scrambling to figure out the potential impact here. Now, the simple bottom line really is about 20 to 30% of our inventory was going to get cut in just a matter of few days. So we didn't have a lot of time to figure out how this would fall out or the impact it would have in terms of our brand taking a hit, or the sales, or some of the investments that we had made in terms of organic trafficking from SEO and the ad strategies and all of that. So there was a lot going on in a short span of time, and we had to react quickly. So here's what I did. I dumped that entire thing, everything from the point of the events and my thoughts as it evolved into Claude. And Claude literally guided me through that entire process. It helped me understand the decision-making process, It helped me triage the problem better. And it gave me a lot of useful suggestions in terms of how to prioritize the different actions, and also stood in as a thought leader and gave me suggestions on future proofing against some of these potential pitfalls, such as how can we stand against supplier shutting down. What are some of the better strategies for diversification, supplier diversification, as well as how do we bulletproof our entire organic strategy, blogging or ad strategy against these products going out of out of stock or out of line. Anyway, that was a I thought that was a pretty good reading from Claude. Now, I say this because this is the kind of exercise, this is the kind of thought leadership that you normally would get from someone that's done this kind of work, right? You don't get this kind of rich intelligence, someone from doing a Google search or picking this up on a Reddit thread. It is not possible at all. You want someone that has done multiple different things, that has multidimensional skill set, and that can relate to the problem not just through the lens of what you're presenting, but can see the entire stretch from problem to solution, the ramification, the impacts, and present a cohesive solution and come up with ideas, and at the same time walk through that and guide you, right? One of the biggest traps in building anything, whether it is a product or a brand or even launching a content creator series, really is having an execution, having a bias for execution, and then running off with an idea. Oftentimes it results in a solution driven thinking, and then once you're done with it, then we start asking the question, okay, how do we market it? Well, the real question should be, is there a reason that solution needs to exist in the marketplace? Or are we putting out a solution and then trying to retrofit a customer persona around it? Well, when you take that approach, oftentimes it's a failure. Well, Claude, with its immense database and knowledge, helps correct for that bias, right? It stands in and it presents that unfiltered opinion on whether this is a good idea, bad idea, and it helps me understand who the potential customer is. Now, there's definitely no replacement for real customer discovery. I get that. I'm not advocating Claude completely eliminate potential customer conversations or having conversations with real customers. But then, for a really, really matured space, when you know the problem and you know the players, Claude can come in and easily peel the different customer personas, present you with the jobs to be done, and help you flush out the solution and even determine the ROI, like potential viability in the marketplace. So this is a huge assist from an AI tool that prevents you from overly committing and overly investing in a solution idea, then getting an emotional burnout, and then running off to another idea. The third benefit that I see really is something that most people potentially underestimate or take it for granted what Claude can do, literally. I see Claude literally as a force multiplier or an accelerated workforce for multiple different areas. As an example, in a span of few hours, in one afternoon, Claude can serve as my marketing agent, drafting creative email content for our fashion brand, work as a Google ad agency, optimizing our Google ads, and soon after, um, write video scripts or write scripts or potentially find ideas for the next scripting or the next in the content series. And after that, act as a market research or a business analyst finding potentially newer ideas where we can go and invest in, right? So this kind of force multiplication is not what I see as cheap labor. It is not just a bunch of ideas coming in together, but it's high quality, high output, high potential that doesn't need that doesn't need significant amount of supervision. Other than setting up with a good prompt, you end up with high outcomes or high impactful outcomes. What I see really is, as a founder, as a solo founder operating with a smaller team, this is really a huge structural advantage. In the last couple of months alone, this has helped me significantly reduce my operational expenses, my dependence on part-time workers, my dependence on ad agencies, and literally leverage Claude to tie up the different workflows as much as possible. The next benefit that I want to talk to you should not come as a surprise at all. Time to market. Using Claude, if you have played with Claude, whether you have an idea, it's a product idea, a blog idea, or you want to start up a new content series, it's much easier. With the right kind of prompting, you're now able to get going, right? So the advantage really is, rather than sitting and noodling on an idea and thinking about all of the different resources, whether you know the tech stack or not, or you want to learn it, and you think about all of the negativity that comes along with launching something, that is completely eliminated. Now you have someone that can work with us, right? Not judging the idea, and just working with us as a coworker, as a passionate coworker, trying to get through that process. If you have come this far and staying with me all along, I really appreciate your time. Well, I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to get the problem areas and the ROI as a separate video because it's getting really long, this one. So see you in the next part two and part three, which will come out in the next few days. Thank you very much.